Hello again, everybody. My name is ReadyAir with AirgunWeb for UmarexUSA, and today we're walking you through the steps you need to know to get your ReadyAir up and filling your air guns. Okay, so you've got your compressor, you've got it unboxed, you're so excited, you can't wait to put air in your air gun. You're pumped. Pardon the pun, actually. I meant to say that because this thing is so awesome and you're ready to start getting out and doing a lot more shooting because you can now, you can make air. But we got to do a little setup. So let's do a little housekeeping here. Let's walk through a few of the steps that you need to know. First of all, this is your spare parts. This is a complete rebuild kit. You're going to have this. This is your manual. You gotta read this, guys. Do not think you know everything. Please read the manual because there's some specific things you need to know about this compressor, how to make it work so that you get the most out of it and it lasts you for years to come. Okay, don't skip that step. Now, I don't know if it's gonna have one of these things in the bags. I got one of the sort of pre-production units that we're using here. You guys may have a couple different accessories in the bag, but just in case you don't have this, what this is, let's see if we'll go ahead and get a picture going here. Put it right here. Okay, what I have here, that is called a test plug. Okay, so that guy right there, that's a little test plug. It goes in the end of your hose and it lets you test your compressor's function without having to hook it up to an air gun. So if perchance doesn't come in the kit, you can pick one of these things up pretty easily. Definitely get one because you're going to need it down the road when you're doing maintenance and stuff. So just in case, it may be in the bag, it may not be. If you don't get one, make sure you go out and get one of these little test plugs. You're going to need that. Okay, so I've kind of got everything disconnected here. I don't know the final version when it comes out of the box, what you're going to be getting as far as what's connected, what isn't. So we're going to walk through absolutely everything so that you guys know how it all goes together. So we've got our hose here. We've got an end here that goes to your air gun or your probe, and the end that goes to the compressor. So this is a fitted plug, so it really doesn't require thread tape or anything like that. Plumber's tape, you don't need it. You want to get it finger tight, then use a wrench. If you're using an adjustable like I am, make sure you don't strip it. Make sure you get it good and snug, and then it's just a little snug there. You don't really need to, you don't need to wrench it down. Just get it good and tight. You don't have to overdo it is what I'm saying, because it's got O-ring stuff in there. It seals up, not going to leak on you, so that's cool. The next thing you've got is your little bleeder plug. This has also a seal on it right there, and this goes right here. So we're going to screw that in, and have to say the whole bleed plug is pretty robust. I like what they did there. Some of the other bleeders that I've worked with on other compressors, kind of thin and chintzy, and they've actually broken, and then when that goes, you're dead in the water. You're not filling your air gun. That thing's built really well, so I'm pretty impressed with that. Now, if you're going to hook up to a battery, you've got these guys. These are heavy duty, a lot of length there. They're going to go right back here on these terminals. So red to red, black to black, kind of makes sense, right? So if you're going to hook up to a battery, make sure you're on your car battery or your truck battery or like a deep cycle battery that's got a good charge. You don't want to be hooking this to something that's less than, because it's going to draw some current. It's going to be running for minutes. We're talking maybe 15 minutes if you're filling your bottle from empty. So make sure you're plugging into a decent battery source. If you're hooking to your car, maybe turn your car on so that your alternator is providing enough current, you don't drain your battery. So definitely make sure you have a robust battery you're hooking up to, 12 volt, good to go. But we're in the shop, so we're going to run 110, and this is really important. I'll show you this guy right here. This is our power plug, and it's going to go in this jack right here at the back. I'll have the picture there. It kind of goes in firm. It's a snug fit. I'll tell you why that's important here in a minute. All right, so the minute you plug that in, I'll go ahead and turn our camera on here. All right, so as you notice now, we've got our screen up. It comes on when you plug it in, and we've got some stuff going on. We've got our set pressure, which it saves the last pressure you were at. I was just topping this off a few minutes ago. This is 3625. Our current pressure is 0. It's got our current temperature. So we got all of that right there. Now, back to the power plug. The reason I wanted to mention that is I've had sometimes with other compressors, not this one, but other compressors, where people have said, hey Rick, my compressor won't run. I hit the power button, it just dies. And they hadn't plugged it in all the way. It didn't have a good connection. So make sure you get that in all the way so that you have a good, solid connection so you have enough power going to your compressor. Okay, so now we're sort of, gosh, we could do a test run. So that's where our little plug comes into play. This little guy here, you can clip this right here, and I'm going to show you something that's super important. This is in the manual, but I'm going to tell you about it. This little connector right here. Okay, the way this goes together, you're going to pull back this collar on this fitting. This goes in, and you have to make sure that collar closes. If that collar doesn't close all the way, then it could blow out when you're trying to fill, and that could be dangerous. So make sure, super, super important, this collar gets a complete and firm grasp of whatever you're hooking up to this, whether it's into your gun or into your fill probe. You got to make sure that that collar connects all the way. So let me show you how to change the pressure. We're at 3625. Let's say we wanted to test it all the way to 4500. We would just hold the up button and go to 4500. For argument's sake though, let's go ahead and reduce it. We're going down now. We're going to go to 3000 PSI. All right, so we're at 3000 PSI. We're going to test how long the compressor takes to get itself up to that pressure. Again, we're using our test plug, so you're only ever having to fill that. Great way to test to make sure everything's working right. The thing we want to make sure is always have the bleeder open when you start. You don't want to have the compressor having to make pressure the minute you fire it up. Give it a little time to sort of start running, then close the bleeder, and then let it go to work. Let's go ahead and do this. Now, watch the temperature, because that's going to go up. I don't know how long it'll take. I guess maybe let's time it. Let's see here. Go ahead and time it here. All right. So I've got the bleeder open. I'm going to hit the on button, and it's going to start to fill. Now I'm going to close the bleeder. Okay, it's about a minute 47 seconds. It came up to speed. Now we are at 82 degrees. If we had got to 87 degrees, you would have heard those high pressure fans kick on, and those are designed to keep it running cool enough to continue running. Those shut off, at least on my system, they seem to shut off back down when it's cooled down to 73 degrees. So you sort of, once they shut down and you're cooled down to 73 degrees, then if you're not quite full, then you can do the whole process over, and it'll take over from where it left off. It'll come up to pressure and then begin filling your gun from that point. So very, very cool. That's the smart aspect of this. Now let's go ahead and fill our gun. So we're gonna let that cool down a little bit while that's doing that. All right, so before we try to take this out, we need to bleed it off. Let's take the air out. Okay, so we're depressurized. We can take out our test plug, and now we can talk a little bit about fittings. I am going to swap a battery. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, so we are back up and running here. All right, let's talk a little bit about filling your air gun. So you've got your air gun. Let's say you've got a gauntlet. The gauntlet actually has that little connector right on it, that part. So you don't need a probe or anything, which is cool. I've got the Air Saber here. It actually has a probe, but the probe has that little fitting on it, which is also very cool. Let's say you have a gun that is like the Maxima Thor, one of my favorite guns of all time. I love that gun. It has a probe, but on the end of the probe are threads. Now you need this little adapter which converts those threads to the fitting. So make sure when you're going to fill your air gun, regardless of what air gun it is, that you're getting the part that goes in here, and that is a Foster male quick disconnect. That's what that guy is. Goes right in like that, and you're good to go. So that's very important. Our air gun here is sitting at about 3000 PSI. I've taken 3 shots, and I want to top it back off. So we're going to put this right here, get it close enough for this hose. We're going to connect our probe. Again, make sure we're pulling back the collar and getting it set all the way. I'm going to plug it in here, and now we're ready to fill. We're going to open our bleeder. Let me start this up here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open our bleeder, make sure that's still open, and I'll start this camera here. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we just tested our compressor to 3000 PSI. We need to get it up to 3625. So we're going to hit our up arrow, and we're just going to run this up to 3625. All right, it is. All right, there we are, 3625. So let's go ahead and fill our gun now. We're connected, bleed valves open. We've got our pressure set. We're sitting at 84 degrees. Now at 87 degrees, you're gonna hear those fans kick on. So listen for that. And then we're gonna let this run and we'll time it. We'll see how long it takes to put that 625 PSI into our gun. And then we will go ahead and wrap up this video. Here we go. Go ahead and shut the bleed valve. Start my timer. The additional fans just kicked on. You can probably hear it. Okay, so it is full, we're topped off. Those fans will continue to run until the compressor cools down to around 73 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and bleed this off. We'll be right back. So those heavy duty cooling fans shut down at 73 degrees. We'll go ahead and unplug this now, and the compressor can go ahead and power all the way down. Guys, that's it for now. I hope you really enjoy your ReadyAir compressor. Please stay with us for our next video because we're going to get into some troubleshooting tips, which I think could be really helpful. Guys, my name is ReadyAir. Thanks for watching.